Well, as President Bola Tinubu continues to grapple with the many challenges of the Nigerian nation, there are those who believe that he is actually putting his best foot forward. On the other hand, there are others who are pushing the narrative that most of what the president has done since assumption of office are mostly self-serving and parochial, and has little to do with genuine progress and development of the country. Sounds like over-the-top criticism? What is clear, however, is that President Tinubu has not broken strides as he marches into the second part of his elected presidential term. For his own assessment of the president's performance thus far, we have been joined by Senator Ayo Arise, who represented Ekiti North Senatorial District in the National Assembly between 2007 and 2011. During his time in the Senate, our guest chaired several committees, including those of Information and Communications Technology, as well as privatization. And that cues us to the focus of this chat, development of the ICT sector and how it can be effectively deployed to offer quicker solutions to some of Nigeria's most compelling challenges. Good morning, distinguished Senator. Good to have you join us on the morning show today.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
And before we move too far, let me correct that I was chairman of privatization.
Okay.
And someone else was in charge of information and ICT, yes.
Oh,
thank you, and good morning, Oji and Kashi. So nice to see you guys.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. All right, let's go straight into it, Senator, and thanks for the clarification. Well, President Tinubu is now effectively in his third year in office. I know that the governments, and the spokespersons that are doing a good job there have done well highlighting the successes of the government thus far. But then what are your own thoughts, particularly as it affects one of the key interests that you hold, the area of technology and ICT? We have heard that the president is personally interested in the whole noise around AI, and he thinks that it can be deployed, to assist Nigerians. We have even heard one of the ministers saying that AI could be of help in the area of fighting insecurity. What are your thoughts, and what do you think that the government should be doing as far as ICT and deploying technology for the betterment of the nation? Your thoughts, distinguished Senator.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you once again for having me. I have listened to various discussions vis-a-vis on the performance of Mr. President in his last 2 years. And for me, I keep on saying that we all travel on the same road, and many people only see just sand, and few people see gold, the same land that we traverse upon. So I'm not surprised. For me, I look more into the positive, and I look more into what can I contribute, to make things better. There is no doubt that we do not have a perfect situation in the country, and I don't think it's unique to Nigeria. There is still poverty, but a lot of the individuals, coming in, you should be asking, what have you done to assist, the government or assist your community in terms of alleviating the poverty in the land? Because individuals can do a lot. Small businesses can uplift many people. You can start by giving employment to some people, and you can live by example and correct some of even the corruption that we say pervades the land. And it will be unfair for me not to share some of my own experiences, even with the government officials. I can say that I've had an interaction with the Honorable Minister of Finance, and not quite 4 weeks ago, some of the jobs that I did to assist the government, I was paid for it. And he called me that, look, Senator. And I said, okay, thank you for that. I will come back and come and say hello to you. He said, no, don't come to me. And please, don't give anybody any money in my ministry. If you do that, I'll be very angry. So I was taken aback. It's not as if anybody was asking me for money, directly, but usually If somebody assisted you, if you say, okay, you want to go say thank you, but it's not the only person that I've had that kind of experience with. But it's good thought to imagine that somebody holding our Minister of Finance, holding our economy, is behaving in that manner to give example even to the younger generation. And I think, for me, I can say the tribe of Wale Edun will never cease in Nigeria. Will continue to see improvement in the way people in government behave. So for me, I look at it, and I move on. I look at what are they doing in terms of using technology to enhance the business of the government. Well, I have been, for a long time now, been asked to develop a solution whereby we mop up and bring money in from all the embassies, from everybody, spending money on Nigerians' website and do all that, so that we can have real numbers and use figures to develop and prepare the budget of the Federation. So this government has been using ICT in ways that we never experienced in the past. And it's paying up, and I know there have been some issues in terms of how much do we really have, or does the government have in the central bank. So you look at it that they are using technology more and more every day to determine how much do we have, which account do we have, and such things. So everything is mostly online now. And the minister can be in Washington, and he can look at what is going on and still give approval. And beyond that, we are looking at the social safety net that the federal government has put in place. In the past, it was such a big challenge in terms of determining who is actually poor, who do we give these monies to. And now, with the name numbers being, it's always been compulsory, but now, if you are making payment to poor people, you have to, first of all, enroll them. They must have a name number, so you can determine exactly who you are giving the government money to. And some of these improvements, we are seeing it on a daily basis. And of course, when we talk about application of technology in security, we look at the drones. Nigeria is investing in drones. They're able to determine and look at where are these culprits, where are they hiding. And of course, it's not 100% an exact science yet, because this is used cameras, and by the time they know that you are viewing them, they might hide some places, but the hiding place are diminishing. And so technology is being deployed to assist in security architecture of our defense, And beyond that, you look at what is being done in the communication ministry. People are being trained, this young generation, they are being trained, in large numbers to start developing applications. And many of them are making stupendous money, working, with advanced countries without living in Nigeria, and are being paid dollars. So we are seeing a lot of improvement in several places. But of course, can we still do better? Yes, I believe the government is relying on everyone to make a contribution. It's not really a government responsibility alone. I mean, you see in the US, the federal government has its own budget, the state they do have, but the small business enterprises happens to be the engine room, that drives the economy of America. So that is what I think is being done in this country. And someone like myself, apart from the 4 years in the Senate, I've never worked for the government anywhere. So it's, from day one, I had always believed in enterprise. And I've always believed in doing things that will add value, to this country. Not only to myself, but whatever I do, I have a purpose. And what the minister told me, look, Senator, please, how you can help me? Help me see how this government would continue to improve. Whatever I've done, said, continue to do it, and let us see how we're able to make sure that this economy improves. So some people have love for this country genuinely, and that they're taking a cue from the leader, who is the president. So for me, I look at it when people come and say, oh, they have done nothing. I look at that Lagos-Calabar road. If we know the implication of that, However far this government can take it, look at the beaches that will be opened up. Look at the resorts that people can begin to create. Look at the future of what does that road really represent. It's not about Tinubu. How many times is he going to travel by road from Lagos to Calabar? But look at the focus, that this man understands the fact that development is engineered. It's a purposeful thing. And he has been thinking about this. And how many would I even want to talk about? Is this the tax bill that is not a novelty? When you look at what we are suffering in the hands of fraudsters with the subsidy, this thing, he said, no more subsidy. Now, there are some fallbacks, but what is it doing to ameliorate the suffering on the people? You have the CNG buses, you have cars, and of course, we're now looking at how to move away, not just relying on petroleum products to drive our cars. You have the gas, which is the one that I just mentioned, and we are looking at how do you do the electric vehicles as well. That's another option. So if you are not using petrol-driven vehicles, you can use gas-driven, you can use electric vehicles. So there are so many areas that you can touch upon that you can see development and growth from this government of Ahmed Tinubu. I think it's not about my sitting back and say, oh, I've not been given anything. Now I'm running to another party, or I'm doing this. I'm saying, oh, this government is bad. No, it should be what can you do yourself to add value to what is going on in this country. I have added value. When I knew that we could not accept MasterCard in this country, I approached MasterCard and I built the first, what to call a MasterCard processing facility, the very first of its type in sub-Saharan Africa. And that's what I came in from America to do. Every step I've taken is how can I add value? It's not about how much money do I want to grab from whatever opportunity I have. So let's begin to look at that attitudinal change and begin to see how we can help the government to do better.
All right, thank you very much for that robust information, Senator Arishe. Now, with your extensive experience in the National Assembly and, of course, your background, which you have highlighted in the ICT, how would you rate the Tinubu's government's effort in developing the ICT sector in the past 2 years? I'd like to know, because I'd like to know if there are any specific initiatives that stand out to you. I know that the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy recently launched the Nigeria AI Scaling Hub in collaboration with the Gates Foundation. From your experience in the Senate, what legislative measures do you believe are most crucial to ensure equitable development and, of course, development of AI solutions across Nigeria? And now I say particularly in health, education, and, of course, agriculture.
Well, thank you very much. Let me first of all say there is no better credibility to give to a president who has recognized Bill Gates as an asset to this country. And they gave him the highest honor possible to be given to an individual in our nation. Now, what do you think Bill Gates will do? He's been working so hard, to assist us in many ways, to support some of those initiatives, to support the health sector. Now, when we are talking about AI, of course, the ChatGPT is there, which is foremost in AI technology, more or less. And I believe that he's not going to diminish what he has been spending in this country. Rather, he will now look at himself possibly as a Nigerian holding the highest honor of the land, and he will do more. So I believe, apart from the fact that there are efforts from the side of the government, this actually happened to be an icing on the cake. There is nobody you give such honor to that will not think about you or think about the country somehow. So I believe Nigerians will benefit, and whatever the National Assembly has not been able to do, I believe with this singular move, Bill Gates will continue to support our economy. I understand he spent over $2 billion last year. I'm sure that money will be much more in the coming years for the benefit of our people. And you had mentioned the communication initiative. When you look at the National Assembly, they can only make enabling laws that can say, okay, please, within 90 days of applying for any license in Nigeria, we should be able to grant it. And that could be a policy of the government as well. But the National Assembly can actually initiate such moves. And they can now say, okay, we must begin to manufacture products locally. Those are within our powers. And I believe other governments in the past had introduced such measures. And that is what gave birth to the likes of Xenox, the likes of, I forgot the late Florence Udebu's company. Those two actually started building PCs in Nigeria. And of course, I don't know what has happened because of the technology that has become much cheaper in China. A number of people now have resorted to actually still buying finished products. But I think we should continue to move and encourage local production through legislation and through executive, maybe executive fiat as well. I say, okay, if you can't import this much, or this is what tax you are going to pay, there are ways to encourage local production. But this is not to say that we should give room for exploitation and the lack of competitiveness. But I think those are ways that the National Assembly can assist the government in ensuring that we move forward.
All right, Senator Aya Rishi, thank you for that. Now, one of the major issues that we find, especially as we continue to advance as a nation in several sectors of our economy, including now our digital economy, is there are places that have already advanced before the realization of the government on its advancements. And I'll explain what that means. In the digital economy, there are startup companies here in Nigeria, several of them across the industries of health, the creative economy, ease of business, even fintech, that have created AI modules to make several areas of these sectors easier. Now, these are private organizations that some of them have been acquired, some of them are hoping for multi-billion-dollar acquisitions already. So you did mention ChatGPT. ChatGPT not being, I would say, one of the most popular, but actually one that is, I would say, even out of a million, so few with regards to AI modules that are available in the world for ease of living. Now, bringing this back home to Nigeria, there are people who have AI modules as well. The same way ChatGPT, everybody knows you can put in a prompt, it gives you information really quick, very research-based. There are AI modules that are built for health. There are AI modules that are built for disease recognition, just to make everything easier. How is the government trying to catch up with this? Because we are looking at a situation where the Gates Foundation is bringing in resources to say we want to help your industry, but the industry already exists. There are people that are already in the industry. There are startups that are already doing what the government is trying to enhance. How can they catch up with this to ensure that we are on a level playing field that is of international standard? We don't have to start from ground zero. How can the government capitalize on what we already have on ground? Even more importantly, is there an awareness of the fact that there are startup companies in Nigeria that are already leading advancements in artificial intelligence? And how does the government plan to support that? Because I believe that we can start from there as opposed to going to ground zero. Also, my second question would be on the knowledge and the intelligence as well. How do we make sure that the people that we are trying to help are aware of these resources? Education, enlightenment. Are there plans of the government to further educate and enlighten people on how we can use these advancements for our daily benefit?
Thank you very much, Kashi, for that. Let me start from the government's role in assisting those startup companies that are already existing. I believe like I said, the engine room of development for any nation are the small business, small enterprises. And those who start from small and they become very big. And having said that, we are also aware that a lot of the development that enhanced the stupendous growth of the Elon Musk empire, were initially through government assistance, And all I can say is that whatever effort individuals are making should be encouraged through patronage by the government. That is one. And when you embrace the local innovators, they will be bound to have many more, looking in that direction. The government should encourage them. I don't believe that government must be now dishing out money, without being sure of what the outcome will be. But once a person has started up, and there should be an organization where such setup or startup, can be evaluated and say, okay, this qualifies for federal government grant, this qualifies for additional government grant. And once these ones are not based on corruptive judgment, and there are standardization, these are the guidelines, these are the requirements, and once you meet it, the government will assist you in moving forward. Now, every nation in the world, you look at it, they have their own development, but there are some things we cannot run away from that are backgrounds. For example, to run away from the Microsoft operating system is very difficult, and to run away from OIS is difficult, and on the small applications where we run on Android, some of this we do not need to recreate, but we can develop applications and make them work, which many people are doing, And of course, in terms of applications, a lot of developed advanced countries, they find Nigerians to be very, very creative. And many of them are being assisted to grow more. Now, if the government has money, unfortunately, the government of Nigeria is not even as rich as Apple. So I won't know where we want to start and how much money the government will have to spend where you have other competing needs. So let's begin to see how the foundation, a solid one, can be laid like this government is trying to lay, so that we have institutions that we can build upon these things. And we know that if you say this is a product, people evaluating it will be sure it's of benefit to mankind and to this country. And it's not as if you have to go behind the door and say, oh, I am the government, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, let us have an enabling environment to allow people to prosper. That way, the nation will prosper. I have no doubt in that.
All right, Senator, just before we let you go, I've asked this question before, yes. And I think I should ask you again. Is the third year of the Asiwaju government now. In what way? Yes. In what way are you planning to be involved, right inside or from the outside, given the sort of, technology business that you said that you have brought from the U.S. Will that be your area of concentration, or should we be expecting that many like your good self who believe in the Asiwaju administration will at some point be involved directly?
Well, thank you very much. That is a call for Mr. President. I think there are so many capable Nigerians, and that is why, for me, I've never really been looking forward to any appointment, as long as you create an enabling environment for people to do their business without, any inhibition that is not based on prejudice, or is not based on personal gain, or is not based on corruptive determination. So once we have an enabling environment to prosper, I know Nigerians are very hardworking. There are a number of people who would, there are opportunities. I was just watching a program on CNN where Uganda is producing this avocado, fruits, and they are now talking of billions of dollars in export. We have land in this country, arable land, plenty of it. A number of people should begin to look at the agricultural sector and do wonders there. And I have to give kudos to the Afrexim Bank for the stride in the medical sector. And we can look at it that these are positive things that you can associate, even though they were started, some of them were started before this administration, but none has been abandoned, and they are taking credit, rightfully, that these things have started working. There was the shout that how can we be traveling abroad to treat even malaria sometimes. And even though we have competent hospitals and medication that we can use in Nigeria, but people don't even trust that they might diagnose something wrong, wrongly for you. But we are moving in the right direction. People are doing things privately and with the government to ensure that the country moves forward. If the president says, come and do this, but for me, I might still like to go back to the Senate, and it might be an opportunity to still contribute somehow, to the future development of our country.
All right, Senator Ayuarishe, it's always very good to speak with you here on Arise TV. Thank you for joining us on the morning show today. All right.